Welcome to I'll Be There, the ultimate wedding podcast by Priya
and Nim
from Pristine Events. Whether you're a bride-to-be
or a groom gearing up
or just a wedding lover at heart, we've got you.
Welcome back to the next episode of I'll Be There. I'm Nim.
I'm Priya.
And today we're going to be talking about wedding websites.
We're exciting.
Very exciting.
This is definitely more your forte than mine. I
hate when you say that because that just means that you want me to speak for the most part.
I do, because you built our wedding websites. You also deal with our destination.
Build is it's a very kind of complimentary way to say that I basically just filled in the basic details. I'm not like a coder.
But you did it, okay. Yeah. And then you also do all of our destination couples websites, you and Sahani. So it's definitely... Huh?
For my sins.
Yeah. So it's definitely not me. This is all you. So, okay, let's start. Do you need a wedding website? Who needs it? Is it just destination couples? Is it UK couples? Is it everyone?
I actually think that if you're having a fairly simple wedding, and I don't mean that in an offensive way, I think if you're having a one-day event where you're having, civil then reception or Hindu then reception, something like that, I don't think you need a wedding website. Wedding websites, in my opinion, are if there's a lot of information, so there's multiple events, multiple different outfits, accommodation, travel restrictions or travel requirements, dietary requirements that you might need to take from guests, lots of different information that you either want to give to the guests or want to take from the guests. I think that's why you need a website. If you're having a fairly kind of simple sort of single day event or two events on the same day, I just don't think you need one.
But can you not use it instead of having physical invites? And we'll do a separate episode on stationery, but could you, if you were just having a simple day and it was just a civil and a reception or a Hindu and a reception, could you then just put everything on there and send out that link and be like, this is the invite, RSVP?
I think you can. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is maybe a good cost-effective way of kind of telling guests what you want or what they need to know. Most wedding websites, like for example, Happy Couple, I think costs £50 or £100 for 6 months to a year. So obviously you're not spending any of that money on physical invites. My view is that, it's nice to have a website, but people don't necessarily go on the website.
Preach.
I think people are only going to go on your wedding website if A, they're really close people, or they're really invested in your wedding, or there's lots of information. If it's something that you can communicate on a PDF e-invite, for example, if you want to save some money, then just put it on the PDF e-invite. It's all there for them.
Agree.
Because people are on their phones all the time, yes, but they don't necessarily go on websites on their phone, or they're not going to go on their email, then click the link, go onto your website, then put the password in, forget which email they're logged in with, then request access to that wedding website. Yeah. I mean, this is specific to Happy Couple. I think some of the other wedding websites might be a bit more straightforward. It's just a very tedious process, and they might then just end up just WhatsApping you as the couple and just being like, hey, by the way, what time does it start again? Because all they've sent you all you've sent out as a couple is the link. Yeah. And it's not physically there, and they don't want to have to kind of jump through all those hoops.
I completely agree, because I was smiling while you were saying that, because I was thinking back to Kimberly's wedding, my friend's wedding in Portugal last month. And considering you work in this industry, you think that I'd be a bit more on top of it. But I was very last minute. The week before was like, okay, where are we going? What's the plan for the 3 days? What's the dress code? Couldn't find the wedding website link. Couldn't find it on the email. Was having to search our chat. Then the password had changed. Couldn't find that. So it just honestly took me about an hour. And I was really adamant not to WhatsApp her, because I didn't want to be that annoying guest to be like, hey, sorry, I'm being really last minute. And also, by the way, guys, your guests will be last minute. So I spent an hour trying to look for it, finally got into it, and I was just thinking the whole time, I wish that there was just like a PDF version of everything that was just saved in your WhatsApp chat, because that is what's easiest to access. So I do actually agree with you, and I think even if you are sending wedding websites out, it is nice to do some sort of, even like a PDF, like one of our destination couples is doing like magazine style itinerary and like sending that and things. I think that they're just nice to have, because people are lazy and they won't look at it.
And you can make something nice on Canva, for example, and you can have hyperlinks on that, which then go to your website, or can go to a Google Docs. I love Google Docs. I think they're fantastic. Or a Google Form even. So on your e-invite, this is what we did for our civil wedding. You send out an e-invite, like a PDF thing that I think you made on Canva. And then on that, it says click here to RSVP. Yeah. And you click there, and then it comes up with a Google form that we've made, or I made that. And then it basically tracks any of the relevant information. Are you coming? Is your plus one guest coming, are you vegetarian or do you have any dietary requirements? Pretty much it. Like the bare basics. Some people ask random questions like, do you have any song preferences? But like, why do you care what song, the specific song that your guest wants to listen to? It's a nice touch, but yeah, I think you can sack that off. I think one thing I would say about that is the reason why I say that you don't need a wedding website for a single event is, for the most part, like if you're having a wedding on one day, when you're sending out the invites, for the most part, things are already set in stone. So the venue set, probably the start time set, what time it finishes is set. Whereas for a kind of more complex wedding where there's multiple events, it might be abroad, there might be things that haven't actually been finalised yet. So where the travel arrangements are being organised.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can regularly update on the website if you're kind of making the website yourself. Whereas obviously on an e-invite, once you've sent it out, you sent it out. And so if, for example, at your friend's wedding, there was extra information that was decided afterwards, even if there was an ePDF or PDF even, it wouldn't have been that helpful.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, actually. I didn't think about that. Like, the fact that with websites you can constantly update that. And that's not actually just relevant for destinations. Even if you're having a more complicated UK wedding, like there was one that we're doing in the Cotswolds, and they are providing transport between the wedding and the ceremony. There's a break, people are going back to their hotels, and then they're providing transport from those hotels to the reception so that everyone can drink and not have to drive, and there's no accommodation on site. So a website for something like that would be useful because you can do that nearer the time. So that is a good point. I think, like you said, you've just got to work out what your day looks like and actually how much information you need to give. And I think what we've learned a lot is try not to bombard guests with like an e-invite and then a website link and then a video invite and then a paper invite. Like, it's so confusing. So stick to a couple of things and try and keep it minimal, not like regular.
I feel like people are moving away from physical invites. Do you agree? Okay, so that's a no.
No, I'm thinking about our couples. I'm thinking just like what they've done.
I think that, again, this is, you speak to couples way more than I do. I just literally meet them on the day. But I feel like if it's an Asian wedding, which we do a lot of, there's this expectation that for close family members, you should be presenting the invite to them personally. So going to their house and delivering it. So obviously you need some physical invites. And that's typically if there's a Hindu ceremony. But I feel like if it's like a civil and reception, so you've kind of taken out the sort of cultural aspect of the wedding.
Yeah.
I feel like most people are just doing e-invites because you save, like, sometimes it's like £1 or £2 per invite, maybe more.
Yeah.
Maybe £5.
Yeah. Like
£1 or £2, and okay, fine, you're having 200 people at your wedding, but okay, fine, not every single person's getting an invite because there's families involved, but you're still sending out like 100 invites or so.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a cost that you might be able to avoid, plus shipping, and there's always a typo or something in there.
Or like even extra things like envelopes and then wax seals and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But
and then they get lost, and then how are they even RSVPing? Are they WhatsApping you back? There's always a telephone number. What, is somebody going to ring you and be like, hey, I'm coming to your wedding? Like,
traditionally, they would give inserts and you'd have to post back your RSVP.
Yeah, but I think we're long past that.
No, we are. I feel bad because I've actually received those from like Gabby and Liz, for example. I think had those with their invites. And
okay,
I think
nobody knows who Gabby and Liz are.
Sorry, my friends. But I remember getting that and thinking, that's so sweet. I need to post that back. And I obviously never did. So I just WhatsApped them and was like, I'm obviously... I actually am. I'm okay. I listened to instructions. I'm just a bit last minute in the prep. But... I had every intention to post it, but in reality, it didn't happen, and I just WhatsApped them. So yeah. Anyways, we'll get into stationery on a different episode. But essentially, if you've got a lot of information, a wedding website is a good shout.
Yeah.
What do you need to put on there?
On the wedding website. So I think you need to have your event flow. You need to show what people are doing at what times, what they're wearing.
Yeah, that's a really key one.
A wardrobe planner.
Oh yeah.
Cheeky.
That's very in this year, isn't it?
Having a wardrobe planner, yeah. Particularly for destination weddings, but even some like UK weddings, like people want to have a theme and say, okay, everybody needs to be in black, or it's black tie. That's another thing that really grates me, when someone's written black tie and then people turn up in like a blue suit.
Yeah.
Like, that's not black tie.
Jarring. Yeah.
Anyway, that's a side thing. Travel. So again, probably more so for destination weddings, but also if you're getting married in the UK and in the middle of nowhere, talking about how you get to the venue, if there's parking available, maybe local taxi companies if you don't want people to drive.
Yeah.
Accommodation, again, if you're in the middle of nowhere. if there's on-site accommodation. For the most part, I think if your wedding website has accommodation, but your wedding venue also has accommodation on site, you've probably told your close people that they're staying at the accommodation on site already. I don't think you should put that on the wedding website. And then extra information about gifts. If people, you might have a link to what's it called, gift list.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Wish list, gift wish list, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I think that's the kind of most important things that you'd put on the wedding website.
Yeah.
Anything else that you can think of?
I think things about children, like just have a section about like
no children.
Yeah. If you're having no kids, and make it clear on there. If you, for example, are allowing kids but maybe not having kids for the ceremony part, like the wedding we went to in Portugal, and they had like saying that there was no kids at the ceremony, but they had arranged for child minding services or nanny services, and like information of how to arrange that, or kids club, creche, whatever it is. Like if you have got a decent number of kids coming to your wedding, it's important to just kind of have some information there about that.
Yeah.
And then I think just expanding on the whole dress code wardrobe planner thing, I think that's really important, but also just in terms of like a colour palette and what to wear, but also weather-wise. So more relevant for destinations, but like, for example, our wedding in India, it was really hot in the day, but because we did some events in the desert, it got really like not cold, but like you might need a
bit windy,
shawl.
and then you need a shawl.
Especially if you're not drinking and dancing, like if you're standing still. So
alcohol jacket.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have an alcohol jacket. So I think just taking into consideration weather, and if it is hot in the day, make it really obvious and be like, it will be very hot, so please, dress appropriately. And another thing is footwear. So mainly for women, but like if you are picking a venue that has got lots of steps that have got really like, those cobbledy like with their big stones and there's like gaps in between. If you've got those kind of things at your venue, just again make it clear to people and say, please wear appropriate footwear. We would recommend wedges or block heels or flats. I just think try and prep them as much as you can in advance. So I think they're the main things. And then all wedding websites that we've done, at least for our destination couples, will have an FAQ section, which is basically all of it's kind of like a summary of everything on there, but just kind of the main asked questions, which is usually to do with the venue, accommodation, travel, and plus ones / children, that kind of thing. Yeah,
I mean, one thing that I didn't mention is that with wedding websites, again, unless you're an expert wedding website builder or website builder, which I'm assuming you're not if you're listening to this podcast, I think you should try and make it sort of as simple as possible for both users, but also for yourself. So if you're having events that not everybody's invited to, or some events some people are invited to, and then you're creating different sort of parts of the websites for different people, it can become really confusing and difficult to manage unless you're very good at websites. So I mean, hopefully that also comes into you planning the events. Just whatever's on the website should be the stuff, I think, for all your guests. And then if you're having a smaller event, then just tell people about the smaller event. That's my view. Unless you're really good at websites, then please tell me how to do that, because I don't know.
No, fair enough. That makes sense. And I think it just adds an extra layer of complication that you don't need, especially when it's hard enough managing it all. So can you, on these wedding websites, can you get, like you said, RSVPs, dietaries, names of who's coming, maybe information about like where they're staying, if they're staying nearby, if you were arranging transport or anything, or
so I mean, I'll just say from my experience and my understanding, like there's probably 3 or 4 that in the UK that people use for the most part. I think Appy Couple is the most well-known one. It's the one that we used. It's the one that a lot of our friends have used, and that's the one that we've been using for a lot of our destination couples. There's also With Joy. There's also The Knot, which I think are both becoming really popular. I think they're both US based. But they're kind of having a bit more of a presence in the UK, and people are starting to use them a bit more. They have some cool features, and we'll go through those in a second. But so I mean, I'll talk about Appy Couple because that's the one that I have most experience with. So yes, you can send out RSVPs. What's really good about it is that when you're putting in everybody's names, you can group people together. So for example, we're a couple, right? So then they'll put us together as one group, and then they might have a separate email for both of us next to our names, or they might have one email for both of us. I can then RSVP on behalf of both of us because we've been grouped together.
Got it. So you don't need each individual
Exactly.
person.
So that's really useful for elderly people.
Yeah.
So for example, like if we had a grandparent,
Yeah.
they could put that onto our grouping. So
Yeah.
that realistically, like elderly people are not going to go onto websites and put in all the login details, etc.
Yeah.
And then RSVP for themselves. You as the wedding website owner or the couple can also manually accept and decline things for people if you want to WhatsApp people.
Okay.
But it's a good way of tracking things. So then that should be your source of information, your source of truth.
Yeah.
The Happy Couple website, and then kind of just plug in everything into there. So then that tracks everything. There's no point doing that and then having a spreadsheet saying yes or no, because then you've just got two different things.
Yeah.
Just put everything onto the Apple Couple if you can use it.
Okay, fine. And then did you touch on, obviously RSVP I'm assuming is a yes or no thing, but how do
actually
they...
you can put maybe as well,
or
which is really not
Yeah,
helpful.
maybe's jarring. Why would they put maybe?
I don't know, like graduations and like
fine. Maybe annual leave and stuff. Yeah,
like
fine. So how do they put in the other stuff that's not just like yes or no?
So yeah, you can put in allergies. So those are things. So again, I'm speaking specifically about Happy Couple. You can prompt people to, when they're RSVPing, answer specific questions. So those questions can be, for example, do you have any dietary requirements? And you don't want free space things. Ideally, you want sort of pre-selected or multiple choice options. So are you pescatarian? Are you lacto-ovo? Are you vegan? Are you vegetarian?
Sounds like plain meals.
Yeah, exactly. But like you want it to be a click button thing. So it's like, okay, cool. Everyone who's filled this in is that.
Yeah.
And you want it to be a question. I think you can select that it's required, so that they have to answer it.
Okay.
Or you assume that if they haven't answered it, then they don't have any dietary requirements and that's their own fault.
Yeah, fine.
I think we haven't used it for this, but I think you can also put in your flight details as well, again, for destination weddings. But again, it would be like, what is your flight number? That won't be a pre-selected thing.
Okay. And that will just all go to a spreadsheet or whatever?
Yeah, so it'll go onto a spreadsheet or go onto, you go into your sort of login portal and you can see your all the different things like the RSVP, the guest list, and then you can sort of filter it by the day and the yes, the no's, the maybes, and then you can like download it onto as a CSV file, which then can be opened on Excel. So then you can kind of play with it and work out things like if you're going to organise transport for people with specific flights at specific times.
Okay, fine, makes sense. So ideally, you want to try and use it as much as possible to get your guests giving all of their information via that.
Yeah.
Because what I imagine would be confusing, and again, I know this is you and Sahani that deal with this from the destination team, but if you're getting RSVPs via the website, you're getting allergies via email, you're getting flight information via WhatsApp, that I can imagine being very jarring.
And that is what I'm living through right now.
Yeah.
And it's tricky because, you can get everything from the wedding website. You can also actually use Happy Couple. This sounds like some sort of promo for Happy Couple. But you can actually use the wedding website to send emails through the Happy Couple portal.
Okay, fine.
So like rather than having your Gmail open and Happy Couple open or whatever email server that you use, browser server, whatever it's called, you can then I think you can also filter it and be like, okay, to the no's, you can then send out an email or a message saying, hey, please RSVP, or like you can send out a new message via Happy Couple to everybody saying, hey, please can you tell us your dietary requirements if you have any. So then it will store everything on Happy Couple rather than emailing people separately and then asking for their dietary requirements and their flight numbers and things like that, and then you're kind of collecting it all separately.
Well, that's what I think. I mean, like, it just makes sense if you can to do it all via the app.
And I say all of this, I don't know why I haven't been doing that, but you definitely can use it for that purpose.
Well, I mean, it's a good learning curve, isn't it? Like, to try and just keep it all on there.
Yeah, I think everything that I've just said, take it with a pinch of salt, because this is in an ideal world that everybody is going to follow your instructions. Yeah. Everybody's going to go on Happy Couple. Everybody is like, between the ages of 18 and, I don't know, 40, 45? 50? Yeah, I don't know, it's a bit ageist. But yeah, between the ages of like 18 and 50 is like relatively computer proficient, is going to be able to do all of these things. But I'd say like 25% of people are going to like do every single step that you asked, fill it in appropriately. If you've got 2 days of events, actually RSVP to both of those events rather than click yes and then it says not replied to the second event. Like it's very frustrating. And then some people will then WhatsApp you, be like, oh hey, I'm vegetarian, or I'm vegetarian, or they'll WhatsApp you their flight details, or they'll email information about a guest and say, oh, this is my flight details, but they're part of a group of 4, so you don't know if that's everybody's flight detail. And it is so frustrating. But a wedding website, for the most part, and a good one like Happy Couple or The Knot or With Joy, I think are good at sort of being your sort of portal to getting all of this information.
Yeah.
We've been using emails a lot. Again, like I said, it's a learning curve. Emails can be good because you can put it directly onto your spreadsheet that you have for other things and sort of play around with it a bit more. I don't think there's like a right way to do things. And ultimately you're kind of at the discretion of your discretion or whatever your guests are going to do. You kind of just need to like suck it up and deal with it.
Because like you said, and like we see at weddings all the time, the majority of people don't follow instructions. If you ask them to please make their way to the reception, they ignore you and get another drink. And
God, this is becoming so like anti-guests.
Not anti-guests. I mean, to be fair, like I've seen it happen when we've been at weddings as guests as well. Like it's very easy to do because you're in conversation, you're in full flow, and you're like, I'll go in 10 minutes. But actually, as the planner or coordinator, you're like, come on, we've got to stick to timings. But the same thing with invites. Like you'll have a deadline, you'll have a method of RSVPing, you'll make it really clear and be like, can you do da-da-da-da? And some people will do it and some people won't. And you will have to chase or you'll have to remind or you'll have to manually do it yourself. And it is just the way that it is. And maybe we can do an episode on guests like I don't know, guest etiquette or something, I don't know,
and then like couples can send it out to their guests to listen to in advance and be like, guys, just
please follow all of these steps, otherwise don't come. Okay, we're coming towards the end of the episode. Do you want to just go through the main websites? I know you've touched on them, but kind of like
sure. Let me just bring it up, my notes that I wrote myself. So there's Appy Couple, which I've mentioned multiple times. I'm still waiting for our payment for the sponsorship. So Appy Couple, like I said, I think, as far as I know, it's the kind of most tried and tested one. It's been around for quite a long time. It has an app and a website, so you can use it on your phone. You can, as the owner of the website, you can kind of edit things. You can check RSVPs. You can respond to things on it. It can be private as well, so sometimes people are very worried that, their wedding website is now kind of published and everybody in the world can see it. But actually you can put like an access code so that only certain people can look at it once they've been given the access code, which is normally just their wedding hashtag and probably can be guessed like X weds X. There's a small fee. I think it's like £50 to £100, something like that. But I mean, it's not significant.
No. Okay, and then Not, which is the one that we're seeing more of.
Yeah, so that's the one which I think is US based. There is a free version, which is good. You can put RSVPs on there. I think that was the word that I was looking for, registries.
Oh, yeah.
Gift registries, right? Yeah. So you can link registries to certain websites, which I think is a very handy tool. Because it's US based, I think some of the features aren't available in the UK, which I think is a bit annoying. And from what I've heard or read, it can be a bit overwhelming to use at the beginning.
Okay.
But I think if you're going to spend some time and you want it to be really good, I've heard that it's a good option. So don't knock it until you try it. And if you try it, let us know. Yeah,
please do.
Then there's With Joy. So apparently that's very tech friendly.
Yeah.
That's apparently totally free.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
Has an app, has a website, has a private events page as well. So I think the issue that I mentioned earlier about having certain events that aren't for all guests, I think is probably good use for that one.
Yeah.
Again, digital RSVPs. They've got a cool feature where guests can upload their photos from the event.
Oh, nice.
Which I think is quite handy.
So it saves us having to put out those QR codes that
QR codes that nobody ever uses.
I've never seen a single person in all the weddings that we've done stop.
Maybe like the bridesmaids, like the maid of honor, they'll put a couple up.
I think they will after, but I've never seen anyone on the wedding day be like, hold on, let me pick up this QR code and then upload. But anyway, we'll get on stationery next time.
But I think apparently it has like less flexibility in terms of the design of how the website looks.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of others. Again, I don't know them very well. So Minted, gettingmarried.co.uk, Hitched, Zola, and then there's like Wix or Squarespace. But Wix or Squarespace would essentially be you making your own website, a bit like our own website via Squarespace. Again, Squarespace, please sponsor us. But that's like building a proper website from scratch,
which I don't think you need to do or have the time for, like unless you are really techie and want to do it.
One of our couples did. Do you remember for Scotland?
Yeah, but he was techie and
but he did something. What was it that was really cool? He like linked it to his seating plan or something, or like.
So you scanned the QR code, so that the welcome sign had a QR code on it. And then you scanned it, and when you scanned it, you entered the name. And
your own name.
You entered your own name, and when you entered your name, it told you what photo group you were in and what table number you were on, which I thought was genius.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I did try to make a reel on it, but it just didn't work out. But he was a coder or tech, or just like he built it all himself. So if that is you, then 100% go to town on it. But for the most of us, using one of these websites is kind of like the best way to go. I think we should maybe wrap up with just some general tips. Obviously, we've mentioned what to include on it. I also think I don't know if we mentioned it earlier, but a deadline is really key, and have that really obvious, and always set your deadline earlier than you actually need the final numbers, because no doubt people will ignore it and you'll have to chase. So I think set it at least 2 weeks before you actually want all the RSVPs by.
I mean, I think your deadline for RSVP should be at least 3 months before the wedding. That's in the UK. I think if it's abroad, I think it should be like 6 months before. The issue with that, and we've touched on it earlier, is that nobody's going to think about your wedding until like the week of your wedding. Like, unless you've got like flights to book, nobody's going to think about it. Nobody cares about your wedding as much as you and us. But yeah, no, that, and also we didn't touch on when you should actually start or launch your website.
So yeah, when should you?
I asked you.
Okay. Asked you back.
Okay, no, okay. In my opinion, because actually the same friend who was asking me a question the other day about DJs was asking when they should start their wedding website, and I was like, look, I would probably just, I mean, I would do it now, like a year in advance or 9 months in advance. Nobody's going to look at it. Nobody's going to look at it. But I would probably actually, if you're going to use a paid website, just look at the fees and like be like, okay, cool. If it's 6 months before and it's not a destination wedding, just get it 6 months before. You're not going to need it after the wedding. And just get it for that time period, because if you're only paying for a 6 month plan, you don't want to set it up like 12 months before and then pay twice. I think 6 months is fine for a UK wedding. Again, nobody's going to think about it unless there's guests flying from abroad. But again, I think you're probably going to message them or speak to them over the phone about that.
Or send them a save the date or something. Send everyone a save the date so they've got it. Okay, fine. So somewhere between, so if it's a destination wedding, I think it needs to obviously be a year before, ideally, right? UK straightforward wedding, 6 months to a year, depending on what website that you use. Figure out which of those websites above you want to use when you are building it. And this is purely from like an aesthetic point of view, which I know is not very practical, but I guess that's me. I think try and pick a theme that aligns with your wedding vibe. So for example, I know I keep referencing Kimmy's wedding in Portugal, but I love the whole vibe. Like, she knew from the beginning that her dress code was going to be black, not black tie, but actually everyone in black, which looked amazing. But then that aligned with her invites. They were all monochrome, like black and white photos. And then her wedding website was also black and white photos.
I thought you lost the wedding website.
No, but when I saw it, I saw it initially when she first sent it out like a year ago. And then it was the week before that I was panicking, and I knew I had to buy a black dress, but that was all I knew. I didn't know what the pre-event was, the post-event was. But anyway, my point was it all aligned, like her physical invite, her wedding website, all of the stationery, even on the day, like it all aligned. So I think if you can try and pick a theme that goes, it's not the end of the world, but I think it's just nice, and it just means that everything's looks very slick, rather than if you go for like a random like bright floral or Aztec, I don't know, template, but then your theme is pastels. Like, just try and keep it aligned.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that also reminds me of one of our destination couples. Their initial outline for their wedding website, when they were like, oh, can you put these photos up? It was their proposal, but that was set in the snow. Or was the proposal or like a pre-shoot?
Oh, yeah.
In the snow.
Yeah.
But they're having a destination wedding, which is obviously in the summer. And I was like, and wouldn't have thought of this, but I was like, I think you should change the picture, because there's something about logging into a website and seeing people in the snow that doesn't make you think that you're going to a hot
snowy
wedding.
Yeah.
That's a very specific tip.
True. And then my next point was use your website as a good place to put up pre-shoot photos, proposal photos, photos of you two. Like, sometimes on wedding websites I have seen people do like our journey, which again, I know we've touched on that nobody's going to read it initially, but actually near the time, especially if there are +1s or people that, you know, families, husbands, wives that you don't really know that well, like it's just nice for them to get to know the couple and see your journey that's got there. So I think use the website to do that. Really obvious ones, but just make sure the colors and the fonts that you pick are readable and clear. Like, don't pick this swirly whirly writing for everything. You can use it for titles, but the main bulk of your writing should just be clear and concise, which I know sounds obvious, but sometimes you can get carried away like trying to make it look cool. So I think that's a good one. I think that's kind of all of my main tips with building it. It's all I have to offer. You have all the actual like legit information.
Yeah, no, I think that's everything. I mean, I wanted to cover stationery in this as well. I mean, not that I have any say in stationery, but what you were saying earlier about everything tying together. I think if you are getting physical invites, if you're having signage or whatever at the wedding, I think it'd be nice to like match everything else. To just kind of brings everything together nicely. But I think, last thing, and I touched on it earlier. He just stopped saying touched on it, but anyway, touched on it earlier, is Google Forms.
Yeah.
Like if you don't want to spend any money, or if you just want a really efficient way of recording people's answers, just send a message and say click here, and then just get them to fill in a Google form. It is game changing, I'm telling you.
Yeah. You did actually do everything for our civil that way, and it was so efficient.
Yeah, and don't leave like blank space options unless it's like their names or something like that. You just want like yes, no's to work out, okay, cool, who's coming to the event, who's coming to the reception, are they bringing their kids if they're invited, are they vegetarian, cool, got all the information. Don't want to have a back and forth conversation about this with them.
Just keep it all tick boxes, basically. Cool, that was a really good, informative episode, I think. So hopefully it's a good starting point for anyone who is about to make their wedding website. But if you are using anything else, like aside from Happy Couple, like With Joy and The Knot, do let us know. Message us and let us know how you find it. It's always good for us to be able to compare and be able to use for our future couples. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Please like, follow, subscribe for more.